Venerable Bhante, sisters and brothers, Dhamma friends, today too we are going to take time for day's Dhamma talk. May everyone get settled down for the talk and give the consent with 3 times sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Sukhaya panaye vedanaya king anusaya anuseti ti. Dear venerable sisters and brothers, Dhamma friends, for this retreat we have taken the particular sutta known as Dasuttara Sutta. In that particular sutta also we have taken the feeling as the main subject matter, and it deals in 3 ways. Venerable Sariputta himself introduced the Vedana or feeling in 3 kinds: the pleasurable feeling, painful feeling, and no pain or neither pain nor pleasure kind of feeling. And he urged us or instruct us to go deep penetrating along this. Then only we can understand Dhamma in real perspective. So, along this series, first I thought anyway to go and learn a little bit about mindfulness with the help of the particular famous discourse known as Satipatthana Sutta for foundation of mindfulness. And with the help of this mindfulness, specifically related to materiality, we have to prepare the ground, and then only we can go to these immaterial subjects or nama dhamma, something like feeling. So after that we took another supportive sutta or discourse in the same middle-led sayings, that is Chulla Vedalla Sutta, whereby we listen to the dialogue between Upasaka Visakha and Sister Dhammadina. Both of them are well versed in Dhamma, as well as devoted much time on practice, and they used to be early husband and wife. So by yesterday we went into these 3 kinds of feelings, and they are interrelatedness. For that the technique was, when and where you met up with either pleasurable or painful feeling, with the help of your mindfulness, you must not only look at the superficial part of it or the tip of the iceberg. You must try to contemplate or mindful thoroughly, right from the beginning through the middle to the end. That's the point where you can see the transitional nature of pleasurable feeling as well as painful feeling. Otherwise they are completely, exclusively different 2 kinds of feelings. But when and where you to see the beginning through the middle to the end, you can see their transitional nature is a common character. Pleasurable feeling is very soothing, good, and mentally and physically. The painful feeling, burning, torturing, and uncomfortable, mentally and physically. But when and where you to see right from the beginning That's another sheets of meaning to say diligently, without negligent, about the beginning of the pleasurable feeling, about the beginning of the painful feeling, and right through up to the last drop, or to the tail end of the pleasurable feeling and the painful feeling, there's a transitional period. And it is, ironically, pleasurable feeling is end up with pain. And the painful feeling is end up with pleasure. And they are, when and where someone is concerned about and diligent about, vigilant about the transitional part, there's a gray area. Not clearly come under the category of pain or pleasure. There is a kind of a gray area that is called neither pain nor pleasure kind of feeling. So only for those patient meditators, mindful enough, they can understand, reveal, or discover this intermediate gray area. It's a great achievement in the meditative life. It's a kind of a advancement and a penetration. And then, only then, we can understand why Venerable Sariputta is placing so much of emphasis on the penetration and deep understanding of these three kinds of feeling, and still along that, for that, this dialogue between the Upasaka Visakha and Sister Dhammajiva is really leading, and then Venerable Upasaka Visakha is asking Sukhaya Vedanaya, Sukhaya Panaye Vedanaya, King Anusaya Anuseti. He's asking a kind of question with a definite direction. Sister Dhammajiva, what is the underlying tendency of the Sukha Vedana or pleasurable feeling? And that means, unless otherwise you go prepared, unless otherwise you are well instructed, you will never see the underlying part or directed disposition of your mind when and where the pleasurable feeling comes in view with. Whenever the mind is avenue to the pleasurable feeling, this tendency is there. You always have this kind of a lust. So that is what the Venerable the Upasaka Visakha wanted to highlight, and verily, Sister Dhammajiva is telling, when and where there is a pleasurable feeling, there is an underlying tendency or directed disposition called lust. So therefore it is always engrossed with lust, but unless otherwise you go penetrate into that, you will miss the bus. So you may only see the tip of the iceberg. That is, of course, a part and partial of the total picture. So after listening to this kind of a discourse, or with this kind of a theoretical understanding and prepared mind, if you go there, you can see when and where the pleasurable feelings sets in, you embrace it with lustful mind, and therefore your mind is blurred. Your mind is not clear enough to see the pleasurable feeling as such because of this tendency, underlying tendency, your disposition. And before go detail into that, we will go along this dialogue. Then Venerable that Upasaka Visakha is asking, Dukkhaya Panaye Vedanaya King Anusaya Anuseti. And for the painful feeling, sister, what are the underlying tendency underlying? Then the Sister Dhammajiva is telling, the aversion or rejection or repulsion or the painful feeling is quite natural. It is more often than not, it is happening. So that is also not difficult to discern if you go prepare. But the next question is, it's rather a novelty, the way it is asking as well as the way it is answered, and what are the Sister Dhammajiva, what are the underlying tendency of the no pain, neither pain nor pleasure kind of feeling, and this is ignorance. So this is part, only the meditative world, among the meditators, we can understand and we must understand, and it appears like in a very, very camouflage way, very, very discouraging way, very, very blunt way, unless otherwise you go prepared. You go without armed with theoretical knowledge. So when and where you go to meditation centers, when and where you are to associate beginners, and if you are discussing with them, or rather interview them, they will come out with so much of complaints, so much of excuses not to meditate. So therefore, I myself usually never take the subject even, or the term even meditation. I prefer to introduce mindfulness. How do you do? What is your way of establishing mindfulness? And what do you mean by mindfulness? How do you put into practice? The answer often comes in line with meditation. Whenever they take the term meditation, it is rather complicated, camouflaged. And therefore you have to again and again ask, leave aside the concentration, leave aside the meditation, what is your practice of mindfulness? So often they would say, soon after I sit, some sounds are happening, thoughts are coming, daydreaming, fantasizing, and pains are there. So I feel very difficult. It's boring. So monotonous. You feel like get up and go. So if you ask very sharp question, or if the person also sharp enough, is this background thoughts what you experience, or bodily sensations you are complaining, and the outside little sounds will become a burden because of your mindfulness, or is it a distraction for mindfulness? I am repeating for the clarity. Whenever someone is complaining thoughts, pain and sounds, if you ask a specific question, does it indicate you are sharp, mindful, or it is due to your sharpness of mindfulness, or is it a distraction for your mindfulness? Then that particular person will think twice and give mixed answers sometimes, and ultimately easy to convince. The background thoughts become so prominent, even the tiny sounds become so prominent, even the day-to-day bodily feelings become prominent because of your mindfulness. But your ignorance and unpreparedness or wrong perspectives make it a discouragement. Of course, it is double positive thing. So when and where this discussion and the interview and the confrontation happens, it's very sour in taste. But the moment the person ready to accept it, that when and where we are met up with neither pain nor pleasure kind of feeling, our mindfulness, our sensitivity become very increased, and your tiny signals like background thoughts, normal pains, and the sounds become highly amplified, and you get overwhelmed, and you get obsessed, and your tendency is to get up and go, telling that I can be mindful, I can meditate when there is no thought in my mind, when there is no sound surrounded by me, when there is no pain, any kind of, then only I can do. So therefore, can we have a soundproof audience and mindset without thoughts and a body without pains? It is called the idiotness, the foolishness. So that's the one you have to cut through, not in a harsh way. You have to understand this indicates your mindfulness becomes sharper, very tiny signals become amplified, and you take it as an irritation because your discussion part, interviews, and this preparation of the mind or your attitude is wrong. So therefore please give a second thought. When and where mindfulness is sharpening, increasing, advancing, penetrating, first and foremost sign is the irritation. So therefore go prepared. Whenever irritation happens, see it is because of your amplification of the mind or sharpness of the mind it happens, or it's a distraction for your mind. And if you are to misunderstand this or miscalculate, misread it, definitely you leading to self-accusation. I am not enough, I am not advanced enough, this is not the time for my meditation, and all the kind of thing, your self-accusation can happen. Or furtherance, you may find fault with others. Others are coughing, others are slamming doors, mosquitoes are coming, flies are coming. So everything becomes a problem. You attribute it to the outside thing and you feel you are a very innocent, very enthusiastic person, but this world is full of friction, full of problems. So therefore, I will meditate in the next Buddha's time, not here. And it will be easier because under the grace of Buddha. So I have to do another technique of meditation rather than mindfulness. And when you are listening to that kind of thing, you understand what are the facets, what are the different ways the ignorance is complicating you. Ignorance is giving 1001 excuses. And when you are associating these meditators, working people, you can see multifaceted way of the mindfulness. Or otherwise you will say you have become pedantic and say the world must be like this. No sounds, no pain, no thought, then only I can meditate. So therefore these organizers are not well organized, so they are not giving me the condition. Why can't they have this regulation and that facility and this and that and so much of things? So these all four we can categorize as ignorance. And you see it is not in the hand of the omnipotent, omnipresent God. It is not in the past or future. No second person involved. It's your mere, bare ignorance. So therefore, the way the Upasaka Visakha is highlighting it through Sister Dhammadina is called question and answer, it's called Vedalla. Vedalla means highly profound, sharp to the point, short to the point kind of a discussion. When it happens, it is enlightening. It's enlightening, that's a kind of a thrill, kind of a thrill. You read sometimes even the canonical discourses and directed to that kind of thing. And when you are contemplating in the Chintamaya Jnana, that means your deductive knowledge, inferential knowledge also you can see, the present day worldly knowledge, how much it is superficial, it is how much depending on the tip of the iceberg, never penetrating. And whenever you are penetrating, you can do it either in the theoretical way with the book knowledge and with the reading and kind of thing. And that can be enhanced, increased more by this deductive way, inferential way, logical way, and you see that hardly any person will go penetrate into that unless otherwise he is well prepared and go with preparedness. And together with that theoretical understanding. Imagine when you are to realize it in your sitting posture or when you are in the walking posture, when we are specifically the painful feeling comes and you feel like get up and go, and instead just forbear it, sustain it, continue to it, and see what is the end part of, what is the tail end, what is the tapering part of this pleasurable, painful feeling. And only the prepared person, only the well-instructed person can see the painful feeling is not a permanent, unchangeable, concrete thing. It is changing, and understanding its changes itself is hilarious, and it is really enthusiastic, and sometimes end up with the pleasurable. And they are the gray area you will never notice, just like end of the out-breath and beginning of the in-breath. Just like end of the in-breath and end of the out-breath. And other way you can say how the weight shifting from the left leg to the right leg. When we are walking, as a person I have 70 kilos my body weight. So when I take the weight onto my right sole, I never feel 70 kilos. And when it is shifting to the left sole, don't feel it. And when you continue it, when you are jumping and when you are running, you never feel. But imagine you are shifting 50 kilos of a cement bag from left hand to the right hand. How difficult. And this 70 kilos is moving in a momentum, you never feel it. So between left leg and the right leg, how this weight is shifted, how this left in-breath mode go to the out-breath mode, how this painful feeling gives rise to the pleasurable feeling and the gray area, and how much it is covered and camouflaged by this ignorance. So that is the part we have to go deep penetrate into. For that, the way the Buddha tackled is, it is a third kind of defilement called this underlying tendency. The Buddha present three kinds of domain: the Vitikama Bhumi, Pariyuttana Bhumi, Anusaya Bhumi. Whenever someone is committing or get involved misdeeds, the transgressional form is the transgression of the social norms or ethical code. So therefore one should have a certain amount of ethical responsibility not to violate it. If you are going to violate, so much of trouble, so much of fear. So that is what the moral restraint. You physically and verbally, you try to do away with this transgressional kind of defilements, transgressional kind of action, so that you feel kind of a security. You are free fairly from the so-called fear. But then you are a good citizen become. But if you are further, if you go and sit thinking about the refinement of the mind, not only the physical part and the verbal part, But the mind, then you have to think about, or you may come across this obsessional kind of defilements that's normally known as 5 hindrances. And unless otherwise you sit and contemplate, you do not know how much background thoughts are there, how much distracting things in your mind. So therefore, meditative world, when we sit on the cushion, we understand how much the mind is obsessed with this kind of defilements. So to get rid of that obsession kind of defilement is when and where you are face to face with the in-breath and out-breath, each and every thought moment, not only you are free from the transgressional kind of defilements, you are also free from obsessional kind of defilements. So that is a kind of an endowment or birthright of a human being. So one has to do first moral restraint and then come to the concentration restraint, and whereby you can understand, you can cut through maybe for a split second as far as you are face to face with your primary object or avenued to the primary object, and you verily know my mindset is here, now I am. It is not the past, not the future, not other places, not other people, and that is the thought moment you can see, completely free from not only transgressional kind, but obsessional also. But still, there is underlying tendencies. So before the Buddha, prehistoric area, in there were a lot of people. I would say handful number of people, the personnel, they really cut through this transgressional kind and the obsessional kind, and they were teachers to the Buddha to be. They had this jhanic experience and the mastery regarding the obsessional kind. But even then, the Buddha to be had his idea, this is not enough. Then only he went further, King Satchakavesi, King Kusalagavesi, what is the real truth? What is the real skillfulness? Because even though you suppress with the momentary mindfulness or sustained mindfulness, the obsessional kind, there are some tendencies, underlying tendencies or directed dispositions. Whenever the pleasurable feeling happens, the lust come and camouflage, complicate the situation. Whenever painful feeling happens, the aversion come and blur, muddy, clouded in your mindset. And the transitional part, no pain, no pleasure, it is not a subject matter of a commoner. Only for the penetrating people can go into that. Soon as soon as you go there, the ignorance make you bored, monotonous, uncertain, fearful, and therefore you naturally go for other desirable things, happy to go for different shapes and the colors through your eye, happy to listen different musics and this and that with your ear, happy to go and have different smells, happy to have different tastes and change your posture and give different comfort to your body, and daydreaming, fantasizing, and all the kind of wandering. So therefore, when and where you go and sit, maybe 15 to 20 minutes, for example. And if you are met up with, if you hit into this no pain, no pleasure situation, or neither pain, no pleasure kind of situation, you can see the kind of mental attitude you develop is opposite of the desire. So in order to break it, you again take refuge of the desire or lust. You feel like get up and look at it something, or listen something, or smell something, taste something, change your posture, or daydreaming, fantasizing. So therefore you can see, if you dwell upon, if you continue, if you penetrate into this neither pain nor pleasure kind of a situation, it is the opposite of the desire, opposite of the root cause for samsaric suffering. So now you are with it. But your mind, or habitual mind, rational mind, is giving so much of opinion, so it is boring, it is colorless, it is monotonous, and it is lethargic, it is uncertain, it is fearful. Am I on the correct path? Am I in the samatha way? Or am I in the vipassana way? Am I advancing? Or am I really stagnating over there? Like so much of opinions are going to happen. This is the armies of the ignorance. So if you can detect, if you can understand, simply you can say within 15 to 20 minutes time, you can find the answer to this samsaric perpetual question. That's the no pain, no pleasure kind of situation. Or in technically speaking, neither pain nor pleasure kind of thing, and how much you hate it. How much you have fear for that kind of thing, and not only that mere hate or lack of understanding or ignorance, you attribute it to something or someone, and then make stories. Keep on chattering, keep on reasoning, and that reasoning is what we call world literature. You get a lot of Nobel Prizes and giving this and that and everything, so you miss the bus. So instead, just dwell one split second, one thought moment more with this neither pain nor pleasure kind of situation, and see how much of different facets, different ways the ignorance come in as a suggestion, and which one you are going to select. And instead, how much you can be bold enough, patient enough, just to be with this no pain, no pleasure kind of situation. And there you can see that is what you call going against the grain. And for that, how much theoretical knowledge you must have, how much rational knowledge, inferential knowledge, preparedness you must have. So it's a kind of a coincidence. One day you will really hit and see, so now I am with the neither pain nor pain kind of a situation. Can I still put up with it, be another one thought moment? And likewise, when and where you go, it is we can safely say we are penetrating. So for that first time, when and where it is happening, utterly we fail. So again, we have to go for the interviews, we have to listen to Dhamma, we have to sit again and walk again and again, meet with the trial and error. Only one day you can understand the no pain, no pleasure situation is not limited to sitting meditation. No pain, no pleasure situation is not limited to the walking meditation. Wherever you may be, whenever you continue with whatever the posture, then neither pain nor pleasure kind of situation happens. So how much crafty mind, how much opinions you follow just to break it, that's why the Buddha says, you can't understand the Four Noble Truths because of your changing of the posture. If you can continue one split second more, and that when that becomes your practice, day by day, kind of a maturity, a kind of a skillfulness happens, so you learn lot of ways and means how to sustain, how to continue the same mood without coming up with that crafty ideas and that kind of thing when it is happening, you can remember you have never done that kind of a game or hobby in your sansaric life or in this past, in this life. This is the time you are really facing with and continue with it. So for that only this theoretical understanding, for that only this rationalization, for that only this trial and error method. So therefore whatever the method you are using, whatever the wrong thing you are doing, everything excused. But it's a very profound thing. There is no mistake as such in mindfulness. I am repeating, there is no mistakes in the game of mindfulness. Everything is sweet. Everything is positive. Everything comes under the noble quest. That is called Arya Pariyesana. So therefore, the day you understand how much we are avoiding this neither pain, no pleasure kind of situation, that's why we have so much of hobbies, so much of this and that distractions. Imagine you go back home, how many distractions you have surrounded, what you call in the household. Whenever you need, you can have three-dimensional or colored or this and that visual objects. In Sinhala we call Rupa Vahini. It's pouring patterns and the colors and the shapes. And Saddha Vahini, there's so much of sounds. Pouring. And then so much of smells. And so much of taste, different foods. And so much of luxuries. Sitting on the ground is self-torturing. You never sit back at home. You have so grandeur kind of sittings and cushions and all the kind of thing. And fantasizing, daydreaming, thinking, proliferation, storytelling, fabrications. So this is what it happens. So instead, just be with this no pain, no pleasure kind of situation to continue. What the hell, where the hell in the universities or schools or any teaching highlighting this? They always highlighting how to get distracted. Whenever you have unpleasant, have a replacement, have a alternative rather than be with it, rather than be patient with that, persistent with that. So that is the point where when Sariputta is quoting from the Buddha, this is the point where to penetrate. So when you are penetrating, when you are, if you are to further go with this dialogue between this Upasaka Visakha and the Sister Dhammadina, now he takes a very dramatic way about this three kinds of feeling, and he says, Sister, what is the counterpart for the pleasurable feeling? Patibhaga. Then he says, whenever the pleasurable feeling, it is natural, the painful feeling is the patibhaga, the counterpart for the pleasurable feeling. And he is asking, what is the patibhaga or counterpart for the painful feeling, the pleasurable feeling? And then what is pleasurable feeling is counterpart with the painful feeling. For the painful feeling, he come out with this no pain, no pleasure kind of situation. So it's a gradual cause and effect. When at the beginning, in the sensuous pleasure, you have to replace the sense pleasure with this often unwanted painful feeling. It's a part and partial. It's a natural life. And when and where the pleasure, painful feeling happen, you have to understand there's a third option, that is neither pain nor pleasure kind of situation. In a very nicely or very in a dramatic way, in a radical way, the Upasaka Visakha is asking, what is the counterpart for the ignorance, neither pain, no pleasure kind of a situation is always with the ignorance, and when and where this kind of a neither pain, no pleasure situation happen, what's the counterpart? He says, understanding about this neither pain, no pleasure situation and preparedness for your own ignorance is what you call the knowledge. So that is what you call self-exploration. When and where the neither pain, no pleasure situation happen, you can understand how much I am ignorant about the subject and how much I am avoiding this kind of subject, escaping from that kind of subject and thinking about the alternatives rather than penetrating into this ignorance and understanding this ignorance. So therefore, understanding one's own ignorance is worth calling the knowledge, and sometimes it's been translated as true knowledge. So how much we are welcoming, how much we are prepared to understand our own ignorance. So that is the question mark. With that question mark, I am going to sum up today's talk and keep it open, penetrate as much as possible. So in the question and answer session, as well as in the further Dhamma talks, we'll go deep into this subject. Thank you very much for listening. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.